Are you ready, kids? Get your parents' permission, check your mailbox, and grab your shopping cart. It's time for the Adventures in Collecting podcast.
I'm Erik.
And I'm Dave. Welcome to Adventures in Collecting, where we talk toy news, culture, and hauls,
along with our journeys as collectors.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Adventures in Collecting.
Hello.
Happy New Year, Dave.
Happy New Year.
It is 2025, and as is usually the case with us, before we move on to the new year, we have to say so long and farewell to the previous year, and that's what we're going to do today with our top 10, 20. Top 20, I guess.
I guess it's individual top 10s.
Individual top 10s of 2024. Once again, we are not sponsored by Liquid Death, but hey,
no.
If you're out there watching,
was that too loud? Me putting the can down, or should I put it somewhere else?
No, I mean that. I think that's okay. Just don't like slam it down, and I think you won't scare everybody.
As long as I'm enjoying my canned water.
Yeah, that's hydration's important. Stay hydrated.
Mm-hmm.
So before we hop into our top 10s and kind of go through our personal rule sets and whatnot, a little bit of Adventures in Collecting housekeeping. So the winner was selected and announced for our 2024, our final giveaway of 2024, December. Our holiday in a box is headed off to the Empire State, to at Dr. Destroyo on Instagram. So congratulations. Nice. And we have our January giveaway is posted right now on Instagram at AIC_podcast. We are giving away a set of 3 Biker Mice from Mars Sports Bros, the Previews World exclusive, limited to 500 black and white variants. So we're giving a set of those away. Thanks to our good friends over at the Nacelle Company. Great way to start off your year with some exclusives that I don't think they've actually hit properly yet. So you might be among the first to get them. And they also are like I said, the limited to 500. Rules are really simple. Pinned post over on Instagram. Read the whole post, follow the rules, and potentially win yourself a really cool set of Biker Mice. And again, it is the Sports Bros and the black and white variants. So as we head into, I think there's a football one in there. I forget which one is decked out in football gear, but we're heading into postseason for the NFL.
For you, not for me.
Yes, you're not. Well, I mean, yeah, we clinched a spot. That's right. Let's go Ravens. And let's go and bear down next year.
Hey, we got another top 10 pick, I guess.
There you go.
Looks of things, so.
Silver lining.
Let's go new coaching and offensive line.
Burn it down and rebuild it. Yeah. So like I said, at AIC_podcast.
And I'm wearing a jersey of a soccer team who spent too much money in their league and in the French league and might get relegated. I'm a sporting mess.
It's a hot sporting mess. Yeah. So that's kind of it for our housekeeping. Thanks to everybody, just kind of real quick throughout the year in 2024 that entered in the giveaways. This is now we've gone on 2 full years of doing at least one of these giveaways a month. So we're hoping to continue that in 2025. It's just a fun way for us to give back, as ad revenue and things coming from the show. We fold that right back in and give that back out to you guys. So hope you guys enjoy the giveaways, and we have some cool ones already kind of stockpiled and ready to go for the first few months in 2025.
Thanks to everyone who's interacted, regardless whether it's a contest or questions or what have you.
And then I just wanted to give one quick shout out to.
I'm actually the TV's reflecting and it's bothering me, so keep going. But I'm gonna.
Our friend Kirk over at the Geek Effect invited us to participate in the figure rewind for 2024. So he's got a super cool YouTube channel, and he's a great photographer, great content creator in the toy community. So you will hear me talk about or if you've already watched it, you'll know what one of my picks is likely going to be. So I had a chance to record a quick little video, and a bunch of friends of the pod are on there. So you'll see Brian and Dan from the Hasbro Marvel Legends team. You'll see Kevin from Toying Around, a bunch of folks from around the community. So it was fun to participate in that. So shouts to Kirk. Thank you for shooting us the little invite there. All right. So all that out of the way. Let's talk lists. So if you have not watched our first half of 2024 list episode or listened to it, I don't think we were doing full video at that point.
We were not video at the time.
This is now our end of year list. So Dave and I compiled our top 10s for around June of 2024 to kind of, signify the first half. And we have kept those lists. So, we have them intact, and then, we update them as we kind of go along for the back half of the year. So this could potentially include picks from that first half list. It might not. I don't know. It's been a very busy year. Lots of toys.
I'm just looking at not my top 10.
Yeah.
And it's wild.
I will say this. Let's see, 1, 2, 3.
I'm not going to say how many I have on that are from the first half of the year that are still on my list, because it would give away too much.
I will go out and say that there are 3 picks from my halfway list that remained, and none of them remained in the same spot. No. Yeah, they all got bumped around and moved around to different places.
Okay.
Yeah, none of them are in the same position that they were in June of that year. So rules. Personally, Dave and I set our own rules for these lists. I tend to change mine a little bit every year just to kind of keep it fresh and exciting. So in the past, I have set myself action figure line limits. So like if something from the Marvel Legends line makes the list, that's it. I can't add anything else from Marvel Legends. I've done things in the past where it has to be an individual figure. So if it's a 2-pack, I have to decide, like, is it just one of the figures from that 2-pack? Or if they both make the list, that counts as 2 positions. This year, I threw both of those rules out the window, and I am doing...
like a normal person.
I am doing just the top 10 figures, line agnostic. It actually ended up working out with a pretty even spread, but of the things I collect. But yeah, so no limits on me in terms of action figures from specific lines. And if it is a 2-pack or a multi-pack of some kind, it counts as a single entry because that was a singular release, even though it contained more than one action figure. And then, of course, it had to be something that was released in 2024. So, even if it was something that I happened to pick up that was released from the year prior, from 2023 or earlier, even if it was new to me in 2024, if it was not released in 2024, it is not eligible for my list. And those are my rules. So,
yeah, I like to use the previous version, an older version of the Dan Larson Secret Galaxy year-end toys list rules, which is if it was, will have to have bought everything this year with a release date of this year. If it was something that was given to me, I will have had to have wanted to purchase it anyway. And this list is mine and mine alone, and you may disagree, but I like what I like, and that's why it's on my list. I believe those are the 3 old Dan Larson rules.
Okay, well now they're the Dave Weinbrecht rules. If he changed his, I don't know if you're saying
he changed his.
Okay, so there you go.
Yeah, now anything that's given to him is fair game.
Yeah, I mean that's the way I roll. If it's something that was given to me, I just if it knocked my socks off enough to be on the list, then so be it. Okay, so we did not do honorable mentions at the halfway point, but as we kind of alluded to, this year there has been a deluge of releases, and some of some of what you can argue might be these toy lines like best years, if not ever, in a long time. Um,
I think I said on in closing of that episode something to the effect of, don't be surprised if these lists are incredibly different, because there are some bangers that are due out in the second half of the year, and then there were some just sheer surprises in here too.
So, with that being said, we are going to each do 2 honorable mentions along with our top 10. I'll start. I'm gonna do both.
Okay.
I'm gonna do both of my honorable mentions kind of at the same time here. Like I'll just kind of talk through them real quick. So in no particular order, honorable mention number 1 is the Jada Toys Street Fighter Guile. If you followed our annual Archie tournament, which congrats to the Marvel Legends team for taking home their second.
Yeah, congrats, Marvel Legends, the first two-time winner.
Yeah, two-time winner. Um,
and Hasbro 4 for 4.
Yeah, Jada once again went super deep into that into that tournament, racking up a ton of votes, ton of percentages, but it's for good reason. And I racked my brain and tried to figure out a way to get this figure on my top 10. And there was just nothing on there that I was willing to sacrifice, but I did not want to skip the opportunity to mention just how strong this Street Fighter line is. And this pick could have been Dalsum, it could have been M Bison, it could have been the Big Bad Toy Store exclusive M Bison. That's the same colorway as like the old Kenner O-ring GI Joe version, or Hasbro GI Joe version. It's just, this line is literally just banger after banger. I mean, look, he comes with a comb hand and he can hit the pose, and that's an actual like metal dog tag that he's got on. And this figure is a mass market figure that comes in at like 25 to 30 bucks depending on what retailer you're at. It's just unbelievable, like so good. So that's honorable mention number 1 for me. And then number 2 is Mando and Blurg. So Star Wars the Vintage Collection,
Blurg is a great name.
Continues to be my favorite toy line in existence of all time. I absolutely love what Hasbro's cooking with over there right now when it comes to the Vintage Collection, and the fun beasts and animals and aliens of Star Wars make Star Wars to me. It really helps with that world building, and this thing is just perfect. Like, it's doofy looking just the way that it was on the show. It's got that kind of like weird, it looks like half an animal. It's just incredible. And the best part about this is we finally have a retooled Mando figure. So, if you're unfamiliar with Vintage Collection, there are 2 types of hip joints on modern Vintage Collection figures. One is kind of the old style where you have to twist them in order to get their legs to kick out. And then these are just kind of like your new standard barbell hips. So really great to have a cloth goods cape and the new hips on Mando, which means that future releases of Din will have kind of those new hips, which is just really great news for posing and for photography. But banner year for the Vintage Collection. Super, super cool releases. We'll talk more about the Vintage Collection as we go through my list. But yeah, shouts to an awesome deluxe 2-pack of Din and Blurg.
So my list has been kind of, up until the 11th hour, has been kind of maneuvering. And there's stuff on there that I thought was going to be like, that I'd be busting out today that I wouldn't, or that I'm not. Which I feel like I'm happy we're doing the honorable mention because I get to show these. They were figures when announced. It was kind of one of those like, oh yeah, this is gonna rule. And got here. I want to say like late fall, and they beat out another similar 2-pack, barely on my list. But I am talking about the Ringside Collectible Exclusive Steiner Brothers. The varsity jackets. If you have the Elite Braun Chase, I believe it's the Chase, goes with...
No, it's the standard. The standard is the numbers.
Yeah.
The Chase was like the multicolored one. Down they go.
Yep, that's a thing I'm going to be doing for the rest of the night.
We're not used to props. We're not used to props, and I am a clumsy person. But yeah, I think these are great figures. You have the headgear chin strap that's kind of open on there. That's like a low key awesome. And it can
feature.
It has a port. It can actually
it's something that it can be connected.
Yeah, it's really really great.
Rick's got the 2 different size boots. Like it's a really cool 2-pack. And Ringside doing these ultimate edition 2-packs is great. And they nailed the look of them too. So my second honorable mention is going to be from a company that Erik talked about, but not the same line. And I think this is a severely underrated line on the market. And it's going to be going into next year. I think this should low key get some Archie love next year. Now, granted, I think this is going to definitely make its way on.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we can say that now. That one of the relegated positions will definitely go to Mega Man.
To Mega Man.
Yeah.
It's just been a phenomenal line. Like all 6 figures, even the second Mega Man figure, the second like Rockman, the bomb figure, is cool. But they got my two favorite villains out this year, and the first one, well, I guess that's a little bit of a spoiler, but Cutman is who I'm going to talk about now, and they even nailed the part where like he can throw his scissors that are on top of his head. You got the little like sly face, like the kind of like cocky, like subtle, like I'm gonna throw my headgear at you.
Yeah,
like. I mean, these have been home runs, and you mostly have been able to order these online, just like all of Jada things. Like, I've never seen these in stores, and I think it's just been a phenomenal line. Like, I think it deserves way more love than it's gotten, because it's quietly been awesome.
Yeah, and there's a lot to look forward to from Jada in 2025. We saw hints of stuff at New York Comic Con. I'm excited to see what they bring to Toy Fair with them this year in March, which will be there.
And there's so much from that Mega Man universe that they could go to if they want to continue.
Yeah, for sure. Two great picks for honorable mentions.
Same for you.
Yeah, those Steiners are. I've been waiting for that one for a long time.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into our list proper. So I'll, since I started us off with honorable mentions, I'll keep us going here with my number 10 pick, and I'm just gonna reference my notes for a moment here.
Are we gonna have a 10 pop up on the screen?
If I have time to edit it, yes, yes, we'll do that.
Okay.
So my number 10 pick is something that we actually got to reveal, an exclusive. We didn't get to reveal the figure. But we got to reveal the news that this figure was confirmed and coming with our friends Emily and Lenny on the G.I. Joe team. This is a figure that I've wanted for a long time. Since for a long time. That's all relative, right? Like days feel like months. But since the classified line has launched, this is one that I was really excited for, and boy, did it deliver. Road Pig. So Road Pig comes in at my number 10. This absolute behemoth of a figure, complete with some of the craziest accessories. I'm trying to see if I kept any of them nearby. I don't think I did. I think I just kept this and his wonderful pit bull Raucus. Again, just like the G.I. Joe team crushing it with the animals. But yeah, Road Pig is he's just fantastic. And it's again like super strong year for G.I. Joe Classified. There were a ton of figures this year that I loved that were, among some of my favorite figures that I got. But Road Pig stands out. I mean, he beat out Nemesis Immortal. He beat out what I think is one of the coolest San Diego Comic-Con exclusives of all time, and the Once a Man Cobra Commander. But Road Pig, number 10 for Eric's list.
All right, so my number 10 is a figure that literally, this is one of those 11th hour figures. So I was anticipating putting something else here, and it felt just short for me. But then I was like, you know what, let me just open this one and see what it's like. And it's one of the few that I actually have like open, because I've had the ability to either see your figures, or like I know what, elites look like, or I know what ultimates look like, or what have you. So this one though, I was like, you know what, let me see this, and it wound up being more fun than everything else I had to open in order to try to get to where this list was gonna settle out. And it is Marvel Legends, the Weapon of Vengeance. We call him Helverine. This figure is
we
like,
call him Helverine. I love that.
like I put the fire claws on him, the Hellfire claws, because I just didn't want fists. Now, literally, this is a figure that comes with just 2 extra hands. So, like you, everybody who's into accessories and whatnot, you're not getting a lot with this. Everything else is towards that Blackheart and all the other characters that have a ton of accessories. But for what you like, I don't own a Wolverine. I don't. And that's not for a lack of loving Wolverine. It's just I can't get everything, right? Like, so I've kind of made my choice with Marvel Legends to just be Ghost Riders and now like Midnight Suns adjacent, but like 90s Midnight Suns adjacent. Just the fact that like I can make this figure look like really cool just by like posing him. Like, you don't have to do a lot, but just it's a cool looking figure. Like,
so you need to preface this
and it's
a little
it's
bit.
fun. It's fun to like I literally put together Blackheart, looked at all the other figures, and I like, this is the one I've been playing with the most.
The thing that you have to understand, viewers and listeners, is this is Dave's first full wave of Marvel Legends ever.
Yeah, I've never purchased a wave prior to this.
Ever. So he is experiencing Marvel Legends articulation in hand for the first time in 2024. So take that in, like, because you're probably sitting there going like, how's this man never held a Wolverine figure before? No, this is his first like proper hands-on with Marvel
Like,
Legends.
I can make him like crouch and like do,
and this is why, and I have, this figure is not on my list, but I can show you. This is why Wolverine, the Marvel Legends Wolverine, and Marvel Legends in general are some of the. I mean, they won the Toy Line of the Year award this year.
yeah, like I have him head up because it looks like he's like, kind of like Hellfire like.
It's amazing what you can do with the figures, right? Like I mean,
Mhm.
it's one of those things that I think sometimes we kind of take for granted, but awesome number 10.
And if you like have him in the light the right way, it's those translucent claws. Like, I get it with this figure specifically.
carefully leaning off frame to grab my next pick. All right, so number 9. My number 9 pick is this. I have probably, even though this is number 9, I have probably played with this 2-pack. And by played, of course, I mean like just kind of sit here and pose over and over again. I have probably played with this 2-pack more than any other thing on my list this year. But we've got to go at number 9 with the Bane. Oh, man, I had it posed so perfectly, too. There we go. We have to go with the Bane and Batman Nightfall 2-pack. So, just incredible. And I can't stress enough how much improved this Bane is over the first Megafig release. I mean, you could not really get that Bane into this position. That first Bane, he comes with the
that Build-A-Figure one, or not the Last Night on Earth one.
Yeah,
And it's just like, it's not this Bane.
yeah, but he's got no, the one that was the, I don't remember what they said it was from, but like it has a different head connection and everything, and he's got the different hands. This one doesn't just have the open hands; he's got fisted hands too, which is awesome. The comic colorway on it with like the red eyes and like the hits of blue. Not to mention, like the Batman that comes in this 2-pack is no slouch. One of the big things for McFarlane Toys in 2024 has been, including wired capes. This wired cape is different than many of the others. It has this kind of sheen to it. It's double layered, so you can see it is opaque. You can't really see through it. Batman comes with the, kind of like the hands that look like they're in anguish. He's battle damaged. He's beat up. He's got blood on his mouth. You can pose them in that position from the Nightfall books, and to me that's perfect. I mean that's Bane. That is.
Oh, that one says it's Nightfall too, but
this is my number 9 pick. So you can break your bat and without breaking your bank, I guess you could say. But yeah, the Bane and Batman Nightfall 2-pack is my my number 9 pick.
hey Eric, just for fun, just while I pick up my number 9, are we putting out our top for individual companies?
We will do that for certain ones. We have to decide which ones we're going to do that for. But I think we're definitely going to do, at least a WWE and a Marvel Legends one.
Yeah, I think we could probably sneak into McFarlane too.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah, and maybe McFarlane. But yeah, definitely those two. And those will be coming out. Those won't be episodes. Those will just be Instagram posts.
Yeah.
So my picks will be, since I have everything open, my picks will be I'll do a little like collage photo, like a little class photo, and then Dave will use studio shots just of like the mint in box pics of them. But yeah.
So my next one is my first indie toy on this list, and I'm pretty sure, and I'm just checking my first half list here real quick. Yeah, this was not out yet. So first indie toy on here, I think I would count like about 2 that are on here as indie toys.
Okay.
This is a 2-pack for me. And I think, I like when things, it doesn't always have to have the best articulation. It doesn't always have to have the best, although I think the likenesses on this are ridiculously good. Sometimes, especially when it's wrestling toys, it's about capturing a moment. And I think this was well worth the wait. This is definitely something that came out um, longer than people would hope, but I think it 1,000,000% delivered. And that is Zombie Sailor Toys, Wrestling's Heels and Faces, 2-pack from GCW Homecoming, Night 1. Nick Gage and Matt Cardona.
Very cool.
You get, Bloody Matt. You got the bloody light tubes. The pizza cutter. You get a bloody head for Gage. You get the normal head for Gage. And they are, because of this, still different from the regular releases. And, there's an even bloodier Matt that just came out from the same match. But even just the packaging showing the pizza cutter part from the match, just, home run for friend of the pod Zombie. And the other thing that's cool too, and there have been other 2-packs that came out, or another 2-pack that came out, the Paul Roma and Hercules one, but this is easily signable.
Oh yeah,
on the bubble. The other bubble is like a tight bubble, but I mean, it's just and rightly so, because it's a perfect display piece. But if you wanted to open this, you could as well, and be able to display these and have a great time with them.
Yep, there's a lot to play with there for sure.
And again, it's that modern retro figure articulation where it's just arm movement, but you got what you know what you're getting heading to the party for these, and so you're really just kind of living on the what is this capturing, and it captures it perfectly.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Continuing the trend of 2-packs, my next pick for number 8
got more 2-packs than I do this year.
Is another 2-pack, and it's not my last 2-pack. Looking at my list, is another 2-pack. So my first entry that is from the Marvel Legends line. One of the entries on my first half list is Sticks Around, and my feelings have not changed on it, but I will recap them as we talk about Joe Fixit and Patch. So the second Wolverine on this mentioned on this list, I guess you could say.
In theory.
So I loved this set when it came out. It recreates that iconic Wolverine comic book cover. I'm a huge mark for the Hulk, and this is just like when I think of Joe Fixit, this is what I think of. I think of the white tux, and I love this Hulk body. It's just like it feels great. It's an awesome size. I will once again pitch that I would love a Hulk with full butterfly joints, so that way he could do a gamma clap. That's kind of the one thing that's missing. But yeah, I love this 2-pack. I love the expression on Patch, that little smirking expression's perfect. You get the alternate expression for Joe Fixit as well, with with him yelling. The other thing that I have to mention too is this has been part of one of 2 capsules, I guess you could say, sub programs of Marvel Legends. So celebrating the 50th anniversary of Wolverine, that's what this was. And they also had the 85th anniversary, which we will get into, I think, later, probably at least 2 more times, if not more. But yeah, so that is my my number 8. Shouts to Archie Award winning Marvel Legends line for taking the 8th spot on my end of year list.
So sometimes the best purchases you make are things that you didn't think you'd wind up getting. And this kind of twofold, because I still didn't know. I was still dipping my toe in the water here, and now I've pretty much set my guardrails for where I live in this world, I'll say. But also it was something like by the time I figured that out, my opportunity to get this was long gone. Especially after having seen yours of this figure. But then New York Comic Con happened. And I walked to a booth and saw that this was for sale still. Like, from the manufacturer for retail. And I was like, yeah, I'm not passing this up this time. So let's see if we can lift this up. This is a large fella here.
You jerk.
-1. SH Monster Arts. You know, I saw yours, which is why I've seen it. I've enjoyed it, which is why I still haven't opened this yet. But also, I'm still like backlogged from Comic-Con. But I mean, what a figure! Like, and I saw that and I was like, you know what? I don't want the -C, as cool as -C is. Like, I want the regular one. So, like, which is cool because the -C is a -C box and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was still able to get this was cool because I was looking aftermarket and it was scary. But probably my favorite. It was a great year for Godzilla, for cinematically and for just toys in 2023, and now toys in 2024. So Godzilla -1 SH Monster Arts is my my number 8.
So spoiler alert, this is my number 2 on my list. Is Godzilla -1 SH Monster Arts. Was my number 1.
Oh, you don't want to save that for 2 now to talk?
No, I'll just talk about it now since we're already talking about it. So this is my number 2 on the list. So I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit here since we're
just as a heads up. I'm not gonna do this.
Okay. Just while we're talking about it, because it's the same exact figure. Same, like, this was my number, like I said, was my number 1 and halfway. Everything that Dave said, I echo the same sentiment. 70th anniversary. This movie in particular is very special to Dave and I. We got to see it at the Japan Society. We got to see the original 54 Godzilla there. Godzilla has never been bigger in my house right now. my little ones love the big guy. But this movie, it was my favorite movie of the year when it came out in 2023. I got this figure when it dropped in January of 2024. So like it has been firmly on my list. It has been living on my desk. It is by far my favorite SH Monster Arts figure ever. And I think I've gotten to the point where, like, the honeymoon period is over, and I can really comfortably say that this is my favorite version of Godzilla ever. Design, movie, everything. And the fact that something was able to unseat this as from number 1 on my list, I think speaks volumes to what that thing will be when it is revealed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So yeah. Same thing, Dave.
But also shout out.
What a year for God.
Shout out to the the Godzilla Evolved from Godzilla X Kong.
Yeah.
Godzilla Cross Kong, because that's cool too. That's definitely a better second stab at that from the movie. Like it's really good.
So
from the old Monarch series.
I think
films.
I think there is only one thing else on our list that's going to cross over here, and I highly recommend, just so that way we're not talking about the same thing twice, that when I get to that thing, it might even end up being on the same place in our list, which would be hilarious because you haven't mentioned it yet and I haven't mentioned it yet, so we're We're moving along here. So my next pick is our number 7.
If it's what I think it is, Eric, I can't.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. When I think I'm gonna hit it probably before you will, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Okay.
Number 7 is another
Oh, maybe
figure
not.
that from a company I love. So our good friends over at NECA, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle film line. This is a figure that I never thought in a million years that we would get. The story behind it is insane, and one day I would love to have Trevor come on the show and talk about it. But the short version is Trevor got on a plane, went to somewhere in China, and found the actor to get the approval to make the Tatsu figure. I have his Oni mask on here just for dramatics, but what an insane likeness on this figure. The Falk family just killing it over at NECA. I think it's Michelle Falk is Randy's wife, but Mrs. Falk, amazing job on the tailoring on these soft goods, the way that they drape, the way that they move, the accessories he comes with. He comes with some insane accessories. He's got like a wrinkled up folded foot mask that he can like hold up in front of Shredder. The Oni mask being a really cool shout out to how this character operates in the comics, which is awesome. You know, as kind of Shredder's right hand man. Yeah, just absolutely insane. One of my favorite Ninja Turtle movie figures that they have ever done, and they have done quite a few now. And like, it's also sort of a bittersweet figure because, with the exception of, I don't know, maybe like a Sam Rockwell, like a young Sam Rockwell foot soldier figure, or like an April from Part 2. I think I'm done with movie Turtles figures. I think I have everyone that I would want from those first 2 movies.
Did you ever happen upon a Danny?
I don't have Danny. He was in that Loot Crate. The only way to get him was Loot Crate, and honestly, I don't want to deal with that. I could live without a Danny, but like in terms of the things that they have put out for the movies, you know, I have Keanu. I have yeah. I mean, I have all the Kino. I don't know why I said Keanu. Kino. I have all of the figures from the movies that I would really want at this point. So it seems fitting that the one that we thought we would absolutely never get in a million years, and is so kind of pivotal for all of those Shredder and Foot Soldier scenes, we've got them now. So that is my what did I say that was? Number 7, right? We're on number 7. Number 7 is NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tatsu.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
This segment is brought to you by our friends at Chubsy Wubsy Toys. A traditional mom-and-pop toy store in Little Falls, New Jersey, Chubsy Wubsy Toys brings you the best new toys from the brands you love without the hassle of pounding the pavement searching for them at larger retail stores. Visit them in person at their brand new home at 101 Newark Pompton Turnpike, Suite 1 in Little Falls, New Jersey, or online at ChubsyWubsy.com. That's ChubzyWubzzy.com. And tell them Adventures in Collecting sent you.
If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
And now, back to the show.
So I am up to number 7, and this is another late edition. There were a lot of late editions. Stuff got shipped right around the holidays.
Oh yeah.
And this is no exception. This is one of those figures where I think this was announced or set up for sale day one of New York Comic Con, like Comic Con Thursday, if I remember correctly. And I was there, but Erik couldn't be there. So I was like, dude, can you order me this? And it came because I'm familiar with the having another version of this character, but not a modern one, with the articulation and such. But
And wait,
like,
don't show it yet. Don't show it yet. When this figure arrived, because to Dave's point, I ordered it. He was out of pocket. When it arrived, I told him, I was like, you need to make arrangements to come get this because I think it's going to F up your list.
and I guess I would say this is indie toy number 2.
Okay. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. But yeah, I think they're
Okay.
still in that. You could say they're borderline in that category.
But Vampiro, Legends of Lucha Libre, Boss Fight Studios, cool little like description of Vampiro's career on the inner flap. Perfect for autographing again if you're somebody who does that. Comes in a casket, like it's amazing. And you've got face painted Vampiro, and then you've got no face paint Vampiro. We'll call him commentary Vampiro. 2 extra hands, 4 extra hands, so 2 for each side. The tattoo work is unreal. It's what a figure.
And this is technically a deluxe Fanaticos figure too. It's not even
Yeah.
like the full blown, like super articulated figures.
Yeah, because this isn't even like the deluxe one. There is a deluxe Vampiro coming that's more late 90s, early 2000s WCW Wrestling Society X Vampiro, which I am also very excited for. But yeah, what a figure. Like, if I think this is long sold out.
Oh yeah.
But like,
it was limited. Does it have the limited run number on it?
It doesn't.
It was, I want to say it was limited to maybe 10K.
It was not a high run.
It was
that.
was like 8 or 10. It was low, and it sold out quickly, and once it was gone, it was gone.
But what a figure. Like, super cool. You got Vamp on the back there, but like, iconic figure for an iconic wrestler. Vampiro number 7.
All right, number 6. So number 6, I'm gonna stick with the wrestling theme. This is my one of my 2 wrestling figures that is on this list.
Is it somebody who feuded with Vampiro?
It is. It is, in fact. So one of my favorite.
Okay, so I'm wrong. I can tell you my number for this.
Yeah, one of my favorite wrestlers ever. Dave and I were fortunate enough at World's End last year, which I still can't believe that was 2023. It feels like it was like 6 years ago.
Right.
But we got to see him wrestle in Long Island for the last time. It's the icon. It's Sting. So Supreme, Jazzwares Supreme Sting. This figure,
number 4 on my list.
Number 4 on Dave's list. So we're not far off on placement here. But this figure is outstanding. Has one of the best soft goods executions on a wrestling figure I really think ever. There's like stamping on the leather material. It's just gorgeous. Plus, this figure is a multiple in one figure. You get 3 different heads with it, all with different expressions. I have it displayed with the clean face paint. but the screaming, like, faded face paint is unreal.
I think it's the best execution of the faded face paint.
Definitely. You get this figure strikes a really cool middle ground where they gave you a body on it that doesn't look. I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but like doesn't look like old Sting. It's like somewhere
It's
in
not
between.
90s Sting.
Yeah, it's somewhere in between, which is great. So you can have him in the singlet. They give you a short sleeve shirt. They give you a long sleeve shirt. They give you the Sting mask, which is hilarious. Multiple
Because
hands.
you never know who's behind that mask, but you know who's behind that mask.
But really, this Sting can really effectively be TNA through retirement, really. For the most part. So it's just awesome, and it has that supreme, extra articulation. So it's got the full butterfly joints.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's the best Jazzwares AEW figure.
I agree wholeheartedly. Prior to this, the Supreme Kenny Omega, specifically the Walmart exclusive Supreme Kenny Omega that does like the 3 eras of Kenny in one figure, 3 eras of AEW Kenny in one figure, was what I thought to be the best figure up until this point, but this completely blows it away. And yeah, to Dave's point, I think this is singularly the best AEW figure that Jazzwares has done to date, and I'm very happy to have it. And I will say I'm very happy to say that we will be giving one of these away in 2025. So we have a brand new one ready to rip for a giveaway this year. So stay tuned a little bit later this year. We will be giving one of these guys away.
So that was my number 4, so I need to remember to skip that later. But I'm going to do my number 6 now, and I want to make sure I pick up the right one. Yes. So my number 6, I kind of spoiled this a little bit earlier. My favorite villain in the history of this video game series. I don't know why. I think it's just the mask and the color scheme and the lightning bolts and all that stuff. It is Jada Toys Mega Man series Elecman. I know it's like the easiest villain to beat in Mega Man.
You got to pick the square first. That's always.
I loved getting that lightning power. It got you further along. But he's even got like the lightning effect, which is cool. And I love he's got a great smirk, but he's also got like an excellent his alternate face profile is like he's declaring.
Oh, are his like eyes off to the left? Right?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so he's looking to the side and declaring. And, you can see it, you can envision him just plopping down. That's been the best part, like beaming into the game. Like, that's been the best part of these figures is kind of like the Street Fighter ones, but I think almost, I don't want to say better in a way, but I kind of do. Because we've seen a lot of Street Fighter figures before. We've seen a lot of video game figures. But I think that, and with the Street Fighter as well, but with these specifically, Jada's really nailed, like, let's pluck you out of this game, and here you go. Without it being like that pixelated 8-bit look, which could have been super easy to do. And they didn't. It's just so good. This is probably my favorite, like, new line of the year.
Nice. Very, very cool. Elecman. All right, so that takes us to my number 5 pick. So we're halfway through my list here. Number 5, there's not a whole lot to say about this figure. It's just massive. It's part of the 85th anniversary of Marvel. It's the Hulkbuster. One of my favorite MCU mega figures, Build-A-Figures, deluxe figures, whatever you want to call it, is the MCU Hulkbuster armor. But this design is just iconic. That big round dome, the vents off the back, the fact that you can pop the dome off and put the Tony Stark head on. He's got armor that pops off, and the coolest thing about this figure, aside from its just like enormous size, and like here I'll hold it up next to a Hulk, so just for anyone that was curious, um, he moves like no other large scale figure I have ever had in my life. He moves like any other Marvel legend. So, he's got double jointed knees, and he can get into like crazy positions, and his torso movement and the way that the head is like on a ball joint. And the pieces, I like the fact that they made it so that it is kind of like, because listen, every time Tony gets into this thing, the Hulk rips it apart in some form or fashion. So the fact that like there are pieces that can come off and like unclip and kind of show that there's guts under there, just rules. But like, yeah, I mean that's my number 5, and in a capsule that was really really strong this year, or a program that was really really strong, probably the strongest summer program they have ever done. Uh, there have been some bangers in that wave. Whether it was the the Defenders 2-pack, whether it was Odin, whether it was something that's probably going to be brought up later in this video. But yeah, there was a lot of really really good figures in the 85th wave. But this one, as a Hulk fan, I now have a quintessential comic Hulkbuster. So it's my number 5.
I think my favorite part of my list this year is it shows kind of the strength of the industry, in the sense that there are many things from all over the place. This is another one that showed up like late, and I got it for a couple specific reasons, and I'm working on a thing. I don't want to. I have to be able to do it, but I'm putting together ideas for a thing, and Erik will understand what that means in a moment. But this is another one that showed up late, and I think you have a version of this. But this is the version like I'm happy they made, because it's my preferred version of this character.
I know where you're going now.
And it is Super 7 Ultimate Toxic Avenger movie version. The first superhuman hero from New Jersey. Definitely has a big kind of part of, like, I feel like it's a movie like everybody from New Jersey watched at some point. It's like kind of like a rite of passage horror movie, and you could be like, oh, I know where that is, like, which we will get into hopefully at some point. But yeah, I mean, it's the original Trauma character, like it's perfectly nailed. The even the muted colors, and it's just the tan and green and brown color palette. Like, I know the Toxic Crusaders figure is awesome, and I'm happy they made that. But like, this is the Toxie I wanted. I wanted first movie Toxie, and just kind of knowing how the Ultimates live and how they work, and all the stuff that kind of how they move and stuff, like, this is going to do everything that I need it to. And again, it's one of those ones where it's about, for me, the representation of Toxic Avenger. So, Toxie, number 5.
Yeah, awesome. And I hope you are able to pull off the thing you are trying to pull off, and I will say no more.
I'm going to try.
So 2 of my 3 picks that were on the first half of the list have been revealed at this point. That was Joe Fixit and Patch, and what would have been my number 2 in the SH Monster Arts Godzilla -1. This next pick is the third and final thing that was on my first half list. I will say that in terms of WWE releases this year, I would think it would be hard to argue to say that this hasn't been WWE and Mattel's strongest year ever. It just kind of seemed like they didn't miss at all. I know there was,
especially with the Ultimates. I think
there were some people that were complaining a little bit about some QC issues towards the end of the year. I didn't experience any of that.
The USO scans.
Yeah, but in terms of
I see it. I get it in both ways.
yeah, and they are twins. It's hard, but this figure blew my doors off when I first got it. It continues to blow my doors off. It continues to be my favorite Ultimate Edition figure they have ever done. She is my favorite female wrestler. I cannot wait for her to come back nice and healthy. Ultimate Edition, Asuka. So, again, everything that I said about this figure at the halfway point still stands. The soft goods entrance cloak on this figure is just insane. The fur, the crazy patterns, the way that the sleeves hang, the likeness, the face paint, the evil kabuki clown version of Asuka is just chef's kiss. So once again, shouts to Bill for absolutely crushing this, and hopefully we're getting soon to the Empress of Tomorrow being ready to come back to our TV screens and arenas around the world. So number 4, Asuka.
So my number 4 was Jazzware's Supreme Sting. So we're gonna go to my number 3. Back to my number 3. My only WWE figure on this list. Usually there's more, and I would agree with Eric. This is the strongest, I think, since we've been doing this. Year for Mattel for WWE figures. Whether it's, who they've announced that's come out, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles line, which ruled, getting greatest hits back out there, and kind of, almost redefining what a quote-unquote re-release would look like. Although I don't consider those re-releases, they're enhanced. Like I said, getting new Legends deals, but we are a year. We talk about toys take about a year to come out, right? Once they're in the pipeline, and I would say even quicker in this case, because in the Mattel line, it was the year of this individual, and this is one of those figures that got, I would say, upgraded, but to an Ultimate. So, what does it look like when you make one of the more famous, elite figures into an Ultimate? And it looks like this. Ringside exclusive CM Punk. It's the, Money in the Bank CM Punk from when he won the world title. Debuted the new t-shirt. The last night of This Fire Burns, or if you want to go first night of Cult of Personality. But it's, they put out the Pipe Bomb figure, got the Straight Edge Society figure re-released as a vault. But this was kind of the one that I feel like there was never a Pipe Bomb figure, but I feel like this is one that just needed not only to be re-released, but done as an Ultimate. Because this was for when Punk was a title, for that Summer of Punk run, the iconic look that he had. Bringing the Chicago shirt in, all that good stuff. You get the spinner belts. You get the great faces that you can use. He can do the go to sleep, life's good. It's, I always say it's the best year to be a wrestling figure collector, and that continues this year. So, CM Punk Mattel Ultimate Edition is my number 3.
Yeah, that figure
and the first
is,
of hopefully many.
Yeah, it's out of this world good. And I will say it is number 3 on my best of WWE for the year. So I only have one thing between that and Asuka.
It is clearly my number 1, obviously.
And that thing between him and Asuka is Paul Bearer.
Okay.
Which, yeah, that's another really good one. All right, so that takes us to my number 3. and I'm going to try to carefully not knock this over. Oh, I did it. Yeah. All right. So my number 3, they don't actually port into the top. They're just like...
They're balanced.
They're just balanced. So I'm going to see if I can leave this here. Yeah. All right. Great. So my number 3 is the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive SH Figure Arts Goku and Gohan from Dragon Ball Z. They are specifically from the intro to Dragon Ball Z. The thing that I watched countless times as a child and continue to watch and enjoy today. Having these figures together on Nimbus with the facial expressions and the posability to be able to hit those title card poses is just like my childhood in like a nice, like warm, wrapped in like a nice warm blanket. That's the way that these figures make me feel, to the point where I will go out on a limb and say that this is my favorite SH Figure Arts release of all time ever. The colors on Goku, the deeper blues, the more saturated oranges, the skin tones, the fact that you can swap, the fact that he can hold Gohan on his shoulder with or without the little like hidden hook accessory that they give you. You have the power pole, you have the windswept hair, which is the way that I have them displayed. It's just amazing. It is season 1 Dragon Ball Z, and it is damn perfect. Like when I saw that this was one of the exclusives that they were doing, I was initially super bummed that I was not going to San Diego Comic-Con, and I proud, privileged, whatever, honored that Bandai and our friends at Bandai and Tamashii Nation sent us out a sample to take a look at prior to the show, along with the other really great exclusives from San Diego Comic-Con. But this is a really important release for me. I'm kind of getting a little emotional talking about it, so I'm going to wrap it up here. But I love these 2 figures. I love this set. This is what it's about for me, is recreating moments like this, and this nails it. So, number 3, these 2.
All right, so number 2 for me. Like, I think for a little bit for Toxie, definitely for Sting and Punk. Like, it's as close to a perfect figure as you can get. And I think this is right there for me, too. There have been a couple things that, I get that have stuck out, but for me, this is like borderline perfect. And it was one of those things where, like, any of the imperfections are things that for me almost didn't matter because I got this thing. And it is just shy of being like, I think that number 1 is more perfect, but this is pretty as close as it's going to get. This was number 1 for a little bit, and I've gone back and forth, and I've settled on this being number 2. And this for me is something that I know you ordered one, and I ordered one for me, and I am keeping both. One is going to stay exactly like what you're about to see, because of what it is. And it is Marvel Legends 85th Anniversary Ghost Rider. It's the Ghost Rider I grew up on.
And I'll help you out with the out-of-box one. There you go. Ghost
Rider comic that I ever had. You can pretty much nail that cover with this figure and with the stand. It's... Is Danny Ketch's head different? Yes. But it's Ghost Rider. Like, that's my answer. Like, for me, it does everything I need it to, because, like, it's my favorite character. As his chain goes bye-bye. It's my favorite comic book character. I was Ghost Rider. I was Danny Ketch for Halloween when I was a kid. It's the bike that I grew up on. It's everything. Like, this to me, and you can nail the cover. I'm gonna try to pull it up real quick. I wasn't prepared.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, if you are a psychopath like me, you can take a little nail polish remover to his neck, and you can get rid of that those like couple of vertebrae that are painted, and then he is just a floating head. So, if you feel like it, you can do that.
Ghost Rider number 28, the first issue of Rise of the Midnight Suns. Yes, I just did a Google search for it. But that cover to me I saw that and I'm like, what is this? And that was it. It was over from that point forward. And, here we are now. How many years later from, 1990? So, literally, 34 years later, 35 years later, I now have an action figure. I have this that can do that.
I told you that 85th anniversary series would come back up.
Definitely a figure when I first held it got me a little feeling a certain way. So, that's my number 2 by this much.
And now we've reached the point where I don't know what your number 1 is anymore. Because the 2 things that I thought your number 1 was going to be, you've already talked about.
We're 2 and 3?
Yeah.
Well, do you remember what it was?
Oh. Yeah, no, now I know what it is. Okay. All right. All right, so my number 1, I mentioned it during our honorable mentions, but the Vintage Collection is my favorite toy line. And while I wish I could bring my entire number 1 release over to this small area, I'm going to represent it with just a piece of it. So, the Phantom from the Star Wars, the Vintage Collection HasLab Ghost release. The figures are fantastic. So there's Hera in there flying the Phantom. The addition of Chopper. It's an amazing ship. It's way bigger than I anticipated it being. It's probably forcing me into large ship retirement. Only because I am totally out of space. I am super excited for the Cantina to come next year. That will probably end up on this list too. Just, it's just the way that it kind of goes for me. But yeah, no, the Ghost is beautiful. The detail, the weathering, the figures that came with it, the spaces inside the ship, just the details. It's just incredible. And I'm at a point where it's kind of rare that I get to purchase something, or if I pre-order something and it ships to me, that I get to kind of open it immediately. This was I cleared my my schedule when I saw that FedEx shipment was coming. I was like, I need at least 2 hours with this thing. The build was really fun. It was easy. I love the packaging. It's so reminiscent of the old Star Wars packaging, even the instructions.
The boxes wound up being fun.
Yeah, it was shipped so well that it had 2 very large boxes that the actual product box was in. I was able to turn those 2 boxes into playhouses for my my kids. That's how big this freaking thing is. But yeah, it really is incredible. is to me exactly what HasLab should be. It is one of those dream projects, something that would never fly at retail in 2024, maybe in the 90s, or earlier. But yeah. So my number one, Star Wars and Vintage Collection. Star Wars is like part of my DNA. It's part of who I am, and I'm so happy to have the Rebels crew represented in a way that that is best suited for them. So yeah, it's my number one, the Ghost.
So I was very scientific about this year's list, in the sense of as I was making it, and I have a running total of like at least 40 items that are listed, and everything was, is this better than this? And I just kept going. So, you know, I literally said, as I was making the list, is CM Punk better? We'll use one that was later in the year. Is CM Punk better than this? Is CM Punk better than this? And I just kept going. So, you know, this was, if you were listening along to the first half, you know what this is. I kind of said what it was before. Out of all the toys on the list of the first half from 2024, only one remains on my list, and it's this. I talk about like two things are that, you know, hit me with figures is, do I like it, and how does it make me feel? Does it like take me to a place? Does it remind me of something? Does it, you know, what does it do? Like, does it have an emotional connection with me? And this one does, because this represents, you know, my kind of foray into liking a specific band. And the first time I saw them live, so this is my version of this character that I've started with. And of course, I'm talking about Super 7 Ultimate, Papa Emeritus III. You know, seeing Ghost at Terminal 5, which is one of my least favorite venues in New York.
Sure is.
Where it has no public transportation nearby. You have to walk forever to get there. And if you're in bad weather, best of luck to you. But I saw Ghost there for the first time during this era, and you know, during that Meliora era, and you know, I was like, yo, this band rules. Like, I already liked them for when for the Papa 2 era. I liked them, but I never saw them. Like, I was like, okay, I'm into this band. This album to me like hit hard, and you know, that's where I started to really get into the lore and all that. And then after seeing them live, I was like, this is I'm all in. Like, I really enjoy this. But this to me, this was my first Papa. You know, Papa 1 was a great figure. I did not love Papa 2 as much, but I knew, like, if it nailed the live performance version and then the, you know, when he first comes out on stage, the papal version, like, it's going to be pretty hard to beat, and it did. So, you know, props to Super 7, shout outs to Super 7. Once again, I think this is like the third time a Super 7 Ultimate's been my top toy of the year.
Yeah, I think the only year that Papa 2 was on my list and not yours, the 1 year, last year.
And it wasn't for a lack of anything other than, like, that's not my favorite Papa.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know we're both super excited for Papa 4.
For 4, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's probably, he's my favorite. Both versions. Like, I love both of his looks, but like, I am really excited for that. That
I want a cardinal figure, like
that turquoise coat. Like, I'm really excited. But yeah, this, like, you know, this is Square Hammer. You know, this is from the pinnacle.
This is how you first saw them.
Yeah, and if you have Ghost.
Yeah, so it's one of those, like,
everything.
as much as I love Ghost Rider, you know, and no, I don't have Ghost, like, the band tattooed on me anywhere or anything like that, but, like, this was almost unbeatable to me.
Yeah, I mean, it is really. This is the way that I have him displayed like this next to Papa 2 in the like
Mhm.
papal um garb cloak. I don't know.
Yeah, 1 and 2 are going to stay in that. 3 is going to be in the live performance version for me.
Yeah, and so will 4. 4 will also be like this.
I might need 2 of those. I might need to, like, if they do the
deluxe.
deluxe.
Yeah. Great list, Dave.
Thank you. Very, like, very me, but very not me list.
Well, some new things. I think my list is probably very on brand for me. You know, in terms of what's on
This
there.
is the least. This year was less than half wrestling.
Yeah, you only had
in the top 10.
You only had 3 wrestling figures on it.
4 in the top 10.
Yes, 4.
As it goes down, like if you look at like 11, no, actually, if you go below 20 is where the wrestling really kicks in.
Interesting.
But 11 till to 20 has a bunch of wrestling too.
Well, I mean, it's all stuff that makes sense. You know, like I said, great picks. Like we have said countless times, it's been a hell of a year. And we did post on the Instagram to see if anyone felt like sharing their favorite toys of the year, and we did not mention any of these. So I'm just going to shout them out real quick.
All right.
So at DL. Okay, I'm pulling a U here. At D La Guerra 719 said the first set of Mezco turtles, so not the toon colored ones, the comic colored ones, so like the darker green ones. Spawn 2504 says the Punisher Marvel Legends. So again, part of that 85th anniversary, that 2-pack where it was Punisher and Bushwhacker, I think was the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that Punisher. At Udi Hamoudi, great username. Udi Hamoudi, Mattel Legends Ultimate Edition Vader. So that was not a really good one.
I had a hard time leaving that off the list.
Very good figure. At Nightmare 10880, Count Duckula. So I guess somebody put a Count Duckula figure out.
Oh, I would love to see that.
Yeah, I don't know who did that. I don't know that one.
Like, as in like the British cartoon?
I guess. I don't remember any.
Right, that is British, right?
I mean, I can picture the character. It looks like Donald Duck with, like it looks like it's part of that, you know, Donald Duck.
Yeah, it was a Danger Mouse spinoff.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to see that.
Yeah. So there's somebody put out a Count Duckula figure. Nightmare 10880. I always see you in our comments and likes. So if you're listening, tell us more about that figure, please. Friend of the pod, best friend of the pod, at Craig Stuff, the Reveltech Agent Venom. So that's the amazing Yamaguchi. And then here's a fun one, Dave. At Sean to the Max, with 2 X's, because everything is bigger in Texas. Jerry Lynn, the Ring of Honor Jerry Lynn figure.
The Ring of Honor Jerry Lynn is very good.
Very, very good figure. So, some awesome. Again, what a year! What a year for action figures. So let's say our official goodbyes to 2024, and look to the horizon of 2025 and all of the fun things that we have going on this year. You know, in March we'll be at Toy Fair in New York, which is going to be super fun. Yeah, lots of good things to look forward to. Yeah, I guess, Dave, before we go, let our viewers, our listeners, let them know where they can interact with us for future episodes. Should we be looking for questions for an upcoming guest, or looking for things that we want to, feedback, engagement. Where can they do that?
Well, if you're watching this, thank you for watching. YouTube.com/AIC_podcast. And there should be like a bell and a subscribe, and you hit that and hit both of those, and the bell gives you notifications as to when there's new stuff. And we'll always be working on new stuff, and we may even try some of that live that's there. I think that's a thing that we might try. Certainly, there's something coming out soon that I would like to try to do there. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But definitely subscribe, like. We want to start doing more on YouTube, but we want y'all to see it too. So on Instagram and everywhere else, I believe we're in the skies as well. And the threads and everywhere else at AIC_podcast. Now, usually this week, guestless episode because the year end is a long one. And, we want to keep it around an hour. But, more often than not, we will have a guest on, and we will post that story days before we record, usually the weekend before. So you have time to really kind of think of questions. And when you see that story, send us a question. You may be the featured question of the week. And if there's a lot of really good questions, we may have more than one featured question. But give us a follow on there, like, share with friends, enter contests, interact with the show. We love when you interact. Hey, Erik, there's another way you can interact with the show.
Oh, that's right. Our hotline. So you can call us whenever you want to. And I mean that. You will never disturb us because it's going to go right to voicemail. No one, the phone will never actually ring. No one will ever pick it up. But we do check it for voicemails. So if you ever want to leave us a message, you could leave us a message instead of responding to one of the stories on Instagram. You can leave us a message to your heart's content. And that is 1-973-750-8256. You can, like I said, you can call that whenever. You will get a voicemail, and we will get your voicemail, and we'll play it on the show. So,
it's a phone number in New Jersey in the United States of America, so keep that in mind.
Yes, but you could call it from your WhatsApp.
Okay,
you could do that.
Just learned that you could do that.
Yeah. So
today years old.
So call us. And leave us a message and tell us whatever's on your mind, whether it's toy related or not. We'll potentially air it within reason. Reason.
Just be cool.
Yeah. Don't be weird. Don't make it weird. Well, with that, Dave, I think it's time to go. And time to start working on our 2025 list.
2025 is here. So, everybody, Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Thank you, dear listener, for hanging out with us today. Subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen, and then tell your friends to do it. Thanks also to Joe Azari, the golden voice behind our intro. Our music is Game Boy Horror by the Zombie Dandies. Find more about them both in our show notes.
Follow us on social media at AIC_podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Stop by and say hi, show us your toy hauls, and share your toy stories. Maybe we'll talk about it in a future episode.
Don't try this at home. Void where prohibited and some assembly required. Each sold separately, not a flying toy. Consult a physician if your toy run exceeds more than 4 hours.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer, Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.